Hey guys, I'm Tiffany. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm talking about everything I watched in December. The next movie I watched was The Princess Bride. Now, I'd never watched this movie fully. I remember watching clips of this movie back in the day as a kid, but I never watched it fully. For some reason, I was like, okay, let's give this a try. No, and I was not amused. I was not impressed with it. Clearly, some of these movies just aren't my thing. That for some, I know it's like a popular movie. Clearly, that kind of taste is not mine. I just wasn't entertained by it. I did find some quotes funny, like the inconceivable, but otherwise, no, I didn't like it. The next show I watched was Dance Moms. So I decided to watch this because I'd watched The Fallout and Maddie Ziegler was the counterpart to Jenna Ortega. And I was bored. I was trying to find something new to watch. And I was like, well, I'd heard about Dance Moms. I hadn't heard too many positive things about it, but let's give this 20 minutes. And I was actually very hooked. It was just very interesting. And I thought this thing was all sorts, I expected it to be like reality TV with everything being fake, and I'm not a fan of reality TV. I'm just not entertained by it. But this one, watching it, it felt more real, but I gotta see that lady, the one in charge of it, whoa, that Abby lady, she is crazy. And it's just so good that so many of those kids, those girls, they don't talk to her anymore because it's like, yeah, you gotta stop, man. But I was entertained throughout season 1. Some of these things were so stinking nuts. Now I know what they say, you can't really buy into anything on reality TV, and plenty of things, even the fans are like, oh yeah, that wasn't real, that was just for the show. But it was entertaining. But I could not continue after season 1. Season 2, she just started exploding and everything. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's, they were deciding to be time to get your A game, yell all the time. Because at first it was semi-normal. I mean, it was already crazy because this Abby lady is just nuts. But at least at first it was semi-normal-ish. But no. The show is crazy, and I'm still so surprised how much work those girls had to do. I used to kind of want to be involved in sports or something, some sort of activity. I was definitely that smart, studious kid, very much the quiet one, just doing my work, minding my own business, but not the athletic type. And I used to be like, oh, I wish I'd gotten into sports. Not that I like sports, but just the fact of having more flexibility or more athletic ability, But watching that, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay that I didn't do dance or any of that stuff. I wouldn't want to be pressured to do all that nonsense. But it was something to watch. I'm not watching it anymore, but it was something to do, and I certainly was entertained for the little bit I'd watched of it. The next movie I watched was Into the Storm. I was trying to brainstorm what movie to watch with my dad one time, and I happened to notice that this was on my watch list, so we decided to watch it. Now, I'd watched this in the theaters back in 2014, so it's been a while. Now, it was interesting. There were plenty of things I kind of remembered, some I forgot, all that sort of thing. Obviously, the thing that's different about this movie in comparison to other disaster movies is this one's more like the found footage kind of story. Not 100%, but some of it is more through a camera instead of the standard narrative. But it was interesting. I don't think it's as good as some other disaster movies. But it was interesting to watch. I do think the kids, the teenagers that were a part of the story, we could have left them out and it would have been a better movie. But they tried something new. The next movie I watched was Finding Nemo. I think it is a really good movie. This time, I don't know, watching it, it really was certainly watching the first part of the movie, I was watching it this time because usually I would watch it no problem, just this is the start of the movie, here we go, whatever, I'm kind of apathetic about it. But kind of watching it this time, I was kind of more feeling it, how terrible that would be, and it makes so much sense why Marlin would be so defensive and protective of his son, because it's like, literally, your wife or mate or whatever, and all your babies but one are dead. Like, that's crazy. And of course he would want to protect his son. Like, you know, obviously he has his little Finn and everything else that happened. So I kind of felt more the weight of it this time. But yeah, watching the movie, it was really good. I do wish instead of watching it on my phone, I'd actually watched it like on my bigger monitor screen on my computer or the TV, because, you know, when you watch it so small, sometimes you don't notice all the details, or it kind of, like, it doesn't fully give you the full effect with watching it on the big screen. But it was still very fun. I'm glad I watched it. And I'm certainly not going to make the same mistake as I did with watching Homeward Bound Lost in San Francisco, even though I kind of wanted to see those characters again. I'd watched Finding Dory back in 2016, and I did not like that movie at all, so I'm not going to do a rewatch. No, thank you. The next movie I watched was Beauty and the Beast. Now, this used to be one of my favorite Disney princess movies. I really liked it. Watching it this time, though, it really is. It's like, wow, this guy really is insane. Like, all the things he does to her, says to her, is like, ooh, not so good. And it is a little crazy that this is a Disney movie. Obviously, they still lighten it up in comparison to, say, the original fairy tale or anything like that, but it is a little like, yeah, this one is really dark. But it's still an entertaining movie. It's still good. So it just wasn't, maybe it just wasn't the right time for me to watch it. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace for the movie, but usually I really love this movie. It just wasn't as good to me. I guess maybe the movie experience this time wasn't that good, because obviously I certainly like this movie. So maybe it was just the timing was wrong for me to watch it. The next movie I watched was Sleepless in Seattle. So I watched this with my family. We've watched it before. I would say of like the Meg Ryan ones, now the ones we've watched is When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail. And I would say this one is definitely the weakest link, at least to me. I'm just not that intrigued by this one. And I really don't like all this old-timey music. Like, music is really important to me, and I really hate that old-time music. No, I don't like it. Anyway, but some of the quotes are kind of funny. Like the thing, like sometimes my family and I quote it, we're like, how's Walter? And things like that. But the movie is... yeah, it's something to watch. It's just not something I really like to watch. So, yeah, like, I prefer more of a normal connection. But my mom, personally, she's like, oh, well, it's about the first meeting that it's an instant connection. And for me, I just prefer more getting to know this relationship to figure it out. But whatever the case, you know, it's something. The next movie I watched was Geostorm. So after watching Into the Storm, I happened to notice one of the recommended was Geostorm, and we decided to watch it. Now, I could have sworn we did not watch this movie, but apparently we did. This one, oh, no. This one was crazy. But it was cool to see some of the nutso things happening in the movie. But, like, the story overall, it was very, very weak, you know, so... it was something to get into, but it was just crazy. It was like, this thing is nuts. The next movie I watched was Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. Now, I'm just going to put a warning out there because of how sensitive people are about movies that they love so wholeheartedly. You know how people get, they're crazy. Anyway, just a warning, I do not have a so positive opinion about this movie. So, if you really don't want to hear it, just skip to this part. Anyway, to any of you normal people out here, I'm going to share what I thought about Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. Oh, wow, was this movie bad. It was not good at all. Now, like I said already, I did not like Knives Out, but my family did. Now, watching this, none of us liked this movie. It was just so bad. I cannot believe I've not seen a single negative opinion about this movie. I really don't understand it. Like, I don't see any positive thing, any positive aspect or element about this movie, so I really don't understand why people like it so much. None of it is good. It's just ridiculous and silly, and certainly the ending, was so ridiculous. So I think the midpoint, it got more interesting, and I was seeing where it was going, and I was almost like, oh hey, this could turn around. It did not. It was just really, really bad movie. I don't understand how anyone looks at this movie and smiles, you know? Like, how can people like this movie? I don't understand it. It just, nope. No. Like, I really don't get it at all. None of it was compelling. None of the characters were compelling. The story wasn't interesting. The plot wasn't good. I wasn't impressed with the mystery at all. I really just don't see any positive aspect about this movie. I really don't. I wasn't impressed with the acting, the actors, anything. So I really don't see, like, I feel like everyone else is crazy, because how could you like this movie? No, I really don't understand it. The next movie I watched was Who Killed Santa? A Murderville murder mystery. So this was maybe right before Christmas or after Christmas, but I happened to find this and I thought this could be very fun, and so I watched it with my family. This one was fun. It was interesting, and it was kind of cool how, you know, those two actors weren't involved in the script or anything, you know, they kind of had to work around it. But yeah, like, the mystery was fun, and like, it was crazy. And what's cool is, you know, because they kind of go through the whole thing, and so you see some elements about the killer or killers. And when they had the killer chasing them and they were running, I was like, I don't know who it is yet, but I can tell that's a girl. And I was right. So I was very proud of myself for kind of figuring it out. Because she has a mask on, you know, she's wearing all black, but all you can see is, you know, the eyes like that. And I could tell, like, you know, just the statue, the posture, the eyes. I could just tell it was a girl. So I was very proud of myself for that. But yeah, I was just entertained by it, and I think my family and I are going to watch more of Murderville. I thought it was very funny. You know, there was just really, it was just very entertaining. Like, I just liked almost everything about it. Now, when it got a little nasty, I didn't like that, but most of it I really enjoyed. The next movie I watched was Home Alone. So on Christmas Day, so I guess Murderville was Christmas Eve. Anyway, on Christmas Day, we watched Home Alone. That is a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It is crazy. It is fun. But Home Alone 2 is just superior, I gotta say. Like, you know, we were watching it, we were like, kind of would like to go for Home Alone 2 by now. But it was still fun. It's still a fun movie. Definitely the superior Christmas movies. I love those. I don't have too much to say about Home Alone, so let's move on to Home Alone 2. I did watch Home Alone 2 on Christmas Day as well. I really like this one. It's just all around a fun time. Very quotable lines. You know, this is Peter McAllister, the father. All sorts of things. It's just great. It's a lovely movie. There's just so much fun to the movie. It's just really great. So I'm really glad that we got to watch it this year as per usual. It's just awesome. And it is too bad we didn't get a third one, because I would definitely watch those movies. But only, obviously, the original cast. With all these needless sequels, things that, it's like, why do you keep doing it? It's clear the magic is gone by not having the proper actors for this role. Like, it's ridiculous. But obviously those two Home Alone movies are great, and I love them. And what's cool is, for the house that they lived in, we got to visit one time, you know, outside, of course, obviously. Someone was living there by then, but it was pretty cool to do. I did that a couple years back, so that was really fun. The next movie I watched was Men in Black. So again, my dad and I wanted to watch a movie, and we happened to see that it was on Netflix. So it was a very good movie to watch as per usual. I liked the movie. I think it's very fun. Now, usually I really don't like, you know, obviously they got all that goo for the alien guts and whatever else, and usually I'm like, ew! But obviously I just kind of look away from the really gross parts. Like, you know, when Will Smith helps birth the baby and then it's like, oh, he's so... And then that happens and he's like cute. It's like, I made sure to look away from that part because I don't like that part. But the movie in general is really good. I really like it. The next show I watched was iCarly. Kind of the same opinion with Wizards of Waverly Place. You know, you kind of try to watch something. I think it was the episode I watched was the Bigfoot episode. I just wasn't entertained. It was something to watch, but doesn't really work for me. I do wish Netflix had more seasons, like the later seasons of the show, because I think I'd be more entertained by that, but guess not. Yeah, the episode just didn't work, so at least it was something to watch. The next movie I watched was The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Now, this movie I've enjoyed plenty of times. Watching it this time, it was still good. There was just something about it this time. I don't know what it was. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I usually do. So it could be, again, just the wrong time to watch it. So just this movie experience wasn't as good as sometimes it usually is. It's still a good movie, just it wasn't as good. And what I thought was cool was, so I was kind of curious because, like, I know a lot of this is Christian allegory, things like that. And I was like, so what is up with Susan and Lucy, you know, when they kill Aslan and then obviously he comes back, it's like, well, what do they represent? Like, is there anything to it? Like, what's up with that? And they're actually supposed to represent the two Marys. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So that was really interesting. Yeah, it's still a good movie. It's engaging. Actually, the reason why I watched it this time was so, there's this girl, Whitney, at Witty Novels. And I used to watch her vlogs a lot, and I gotta say, I'm so happy that she's back. So I'm very looking forward to watching her content in 2023 when she releases more videos. But she had some Christmas vlogs a couple years back, and she was watching that Narnia movie for Christmas because obviously you're stuck in winter, and then as things get better and more wholesome, less evil, then it turns to summer. But a lot of it is kind of Christmassy, and obviously you got Father Christmas and things like that. So because she had kind of like a Christmas vibe with it, I was like, okay, let's watch it this time. It's still great, just it wasn't as good to me this time watching. And the last movie I watched was Men in Black 2. Now, I have enjoyed Men in Black and Men in Black 3. But I usually have the opinion for Men in Black 2, not so much, you know? I usually don't think of it being that good. But watching it actually wasn't that bad. It was engaging, it was, you know, all sorts of good. It's not as good, but it's still, you know, a good movie to watch. It still has some good elements to it. And that is everything I watched in December. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. It would really help and support me. See you guys next time. Bye!